All right, I'll do a second cut-up video because they had 2 videos. Why not? This one is 5.1K views. It was the first of the 2. It was the teaser in their Never Produced Again series.
Different aspects
supposed to be
of
great.
betting, helping people.
Let's see what we got going on here. Let's go Wager Talk. Add that here.
Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. We're going to take a look at some betting trends and help you guys understand things going on. Now, most of you guys, we know that they got the legislation
free advertising,
passed
and it's kind of
we're going to start to see some other states introducing sports betting. A lot of people already know what they're doing, but there's a lot of people that are going to be betting for the first time.
So other places are getting
a series
money.
of videos
Casino
talking
betting, whatever,
about different aspects of betting, helping people understand what to do and what not to do.
Sign up the wagers.
And generally, we tell people when you're betting sports, just bet single plays. You know, bet your team to win in that. Bet a first half. Bet, you're doing single things. We're not talking about doing combinations and exotics, but there is one exotic wager that I do all the time, and I think it's the best value of anything out there. I'm not a proponent of playing parlays and playing round robins and all of that.
I agree. Don't do all
when
that
it comes to
shit.
Teasers
in
one sport, NFL, that's the only one. I
NFL.
love teasers. I think there's great value.
NFL
Brian,
teasers.
I'll start with you.
Should have read the bottom.
Teasers, or if you talk to bookmakers in town, they'll tell you that's the one thing they fear from the sharp bettors.
Well, it's kind of interesting we're talking about teasers now because it's obviously before football season. And there has been whispers going around that they're going to change some odds and some ways that we're going to be doing teasers. So we're talking right now as if nothing has changed. If something does change, we'll do another video later on and tell you if there's any value in it.
112 or something.
But if you're doing a 6.2 team teaser at minus 110, that's really what you're looking for.
Just had a teaser video on this.
Key numbers of 3 and
prepped
7.
Again.
So basically, in the NFL,
Square root of
if you get a line from like 1.5 up to 7.5, 7.5 down to 1.5, covering 3,
really
4, 6,
like
and
73%.
7, that's what you want to do.
Because you're going to lose
and
those
it's
freaking
even
pushes.
better when you have low-scoring games. I used to love it when
I don't have low
Marty
scoring
Schottenheimer
in
was
there.
at Kansas City, and they never fumbled the football, and the totals are 34, and all of a sudden they're a 7.5-point favorite, and you know that you can take those numbers and they're not going to deviate much because it's sort of like Wisconsin football. They don't turn the ball over. They don't fumble. And when you're specifically
I'm not a college
trying
guy. I can't
to
look up whether or not
take time
Wisconsin
off the
turns
clock,
over the football.
which is what Kansas City was at that time, you weren't going to have
Apparently
any
they don't,
turnovers.
according to
And
Brian.
it was free money for a long time.
Like over
So
30
if you're
years.
getting a total in the 50s, and even though you're able to cover those key numbers, it doesn't have the
Forget how
same
many championships
ability as
Wisconsin
it is
has.
if you can get one in the 30s and lower 40s.
Yeah,
Probably
and
0.
let's to dummy that down
Maybe
a
they
little
should turn
bit
over
for
the
our
football a
listeners.
little
When
more.
you're talking about going through the key numbers of 3, 4, and 7, in football, 3 is going to be the number that the biggest percentage of games is going to land on 3. So what you're trying to
biggest
do
percentage of games is
that
going
3,
to
4, and
land
7.
on
Those
3.
are the most frequent numbers. Those
3,
3,
4,
the 3 and the 7 being the top
3, 4,
2,
7.
and 4 being third. I would say, if you can get a 7.5.
Let's go. I don't have to say. Let me go say. Where the hell is my? There we go. Let me go say. All right. So he said something. Here's my data. Again, 1985 to 2017. What the hell do I need for data to do that? Just stick with me. I don't need the line. I do need the line. Oh no, here's what the results were, right? What the results. I just need the ATS calculated. Need the ATS calculated. And then I need to sort those. Data sort. That's not the way you sort data. Damn it. I love my old school. There it is. Old school Excel. Sorry for the old school Excel. Why would you ever buy picks from a guy who's got old school Excel? Guy's a moron. Probably thinks that Monday Nighters are still on public television. So yeah, 0. These are ending up with exactly what the line was. And 0 doesn't have a positive or a negative, so it's really half the games, right? Because each team would have got a 0 in this count, so 215 games. But I can easily see the next highest one is a pair of, so 6 is the next, 4 is the one after that, Which one did he say? 3, 4, and 7. All right, I'll buy that number. And matter of fact, if I degrade this to 215, it's going to be pretty far down the list here. So the number 1 is 6 points, by the way. That's how far off. Oh, by the way, you ever hear a 6-point teaser? Well, there it is. You would kind of win or loss on that. 4 is the next one. 1 is the next one after that. 2 is the next one after that. I'm sorry, what did he say? He said 4 at least, right? 10 is the next one after that, and then 3 pops in there. Then 0.5, and then 7. So, yes and no. One way or another, he didn't know that. But let's do B5 to B5 over B9 to 986. Why the hell isn't that calculating? Please calculate for me. Some B5 to B5 by B196. Well, maybe 196 is not the right. What the hell did I do there? Oh, you're going to have to struggle with me again. This old school Excel. Automatic. The sum. That give me a sum down the bottom? Come on. I'm on live T here, man. I'm on live TV. Automatic. Sum, please. Custom sum. Automatic. Where the hell? Yeah, let's do 195. So stupid. So stupid, Excel. Alright, I'm going to let this float off a little bit. Sum B1 to, sorry, B195. All right, well, that's pretty exciting. Sorry about that. Again, that gives me the rugged answer of how many games end up in a push. ATS, it's 2.6% over those 33 years. I was asking that the other day when I was doing my teaser video. But after that, you know, your percentages show up that way. So, yeah, I wouldn't say that's the top ones. Let's go back to the video. Kind of bored with that one.
Point teaser, as you said, you're bringing them down to 1.5. You're making it a situation then where the team just basically has to win the game. That's what you're looking for. On those low-scoring games that you talked about, those points become more valuable in
How do you
the
know if the
teaser.
game's going to be low-scoring?
To me, where they become more valuable is if I get a game with a small over-under and the line is 2.5. If I can tease that underdog, and take a 6-point teaser and take him up to plus 8.5, that's where I'm looking for gold. Sometimes you're almost not even looking at teams. You're just looking.
I can't quite limit it to the low ones, but let me limit it to 2.5. So if my line, I got to put the damn line back in there. Where's the line? Put the line in there, man. So if the line is 2.5. 2.5. You're a favorite at 2.5. Is that what he said? So I'm going to cross a border. I'm going to be minus 2.5. These are all the lines that minus 2.5. Minus 2.5. There we go. Actually had some data out there. It looks like. I think I've done this one. So yeah, maybe this was where I stuck on left. So we got. Again, these are all covering out to plus something. What's going on here? Do A to Z on that. Yeah, so up to 6 points, you're going to cover. It's beyond those plus 6, so it's beyond 8.5. It's plus 6.5. It's actually 9. So you lose these. So these are going to be winners. And these are going to be losers. No problem there. And you end up equals sum all this shit. 372 and 127. And that would give you a 74.5% win percent on a teaser. That is good advice. Congratulations, Suit. You're winning my trust back. So if you know it's going to be 2.5 at game time on covers, and that's a little bit tricky, by the way, to know that. You have to be hanging around right at game time. But it's going to be minus 2.5, and you can find, you got to find 2 minus 2.5s to make a 2-point teaser. That ain't going to happen. So, yeah, how do you do that, man? How do you do that, buddy?
You're looking at numbers. That's the way.
Thanks for the advice.
8.5 plus 8.5 in a total that's 42.
The probability of getting
or
2 NFL games at minus 2.5.
Back in the old days, we were looking for the 34s to 36s. But you just don't see totals like that anymore. If you get a 42, that's almost gold in an 8.5 point teaser for the dog.
Well,
barely.
A couple of notes.
Barely.
I knew we were talking about
Barely
teasers, so I
winner.
called an old friend, Ed Meyer. Ed is a professor in Ohio University, and Ed used to be MTI and Killer Sports.
This guy knows a guy.
They sell their picks now at Wager Talk at Sports Data Query Group, and their NBA totals are just crushing it. And they give their reasoning and all their totals. But Ed's been on Teasers in 1989. He wrote articles for the Card Player. He was a person who absolutely was on this teaser market for years. He's hit 60%, over 60% each of the last 5 years. His teasers will be available at Wager Talk. And when I talked to him today, he gave me a couple notes. The key. The key when you find out your success on a teaser isn't if the game won as a teaser. It's if the game lost and your teaser won because your reasoning was right. So grade your teasers from that. Don't just say, "Oh, I won my teaser. I'm a good teaser bettor." Look to make sure you tease the right information and the game
absolutely
lost.
Not. If you're,
when he talks about how. The teasers are like blackjack. He gave me this comparison today.
Judge
blackjack,
everything
we know
you
the house
ever
makes
do
a lot of money on blackjack,
by whether or not
but there's good blackjack players and there's
loser.
bad blackjack players. If you play blackjack the right
Regardless
way, it's just
of
like being a sharp teaser bettor. You actually can find an advantage betting teasers.
You're a lucky picker.
You guys talked about a couple situations, and for those that haven't been to Wager
all
Talk,
that matters
if you look on the top
is whether you
toolbar,
win
there's
or
an
lose
NFL matrix.
money.
Which is a pull-down chart with 40 different categories, and each of those categories have subsets. But you can go and you can look how home teams did last year straight up against the spread, and Ed also lists the 6-point teaser and 10-point teaser records for those. An example, Philadelphia last year was 18-1 on a 6-point teaser. So, it's easy to find that information. Go play at it. Go to Wager Talk, the top toolbar, the NFL matrix, and it's amazing how much information you're going to get out of there.
Go figure out what Philadelphia
one thing
is
Ed wanted to bring up
for
is
33
that
years?
People tend to say,
or just last
don't
year.
tease over 0. Well, he's not an advocate of that. There's certain situations where if the home team is between +3 and -3 and the total's under 40, straight up the record's 14 and 12. ATS, it's 13 and 11. Against the spread with a teaser is 21 and 5, 82%. So he's had success actually doing that in certain situations. As a rule, if you don't know what you're doing, you don't tease over 0. But again, he's been in a situation. Another great situation is a division away favorite with the total under 44. This is what you're talking about. A division game means you know the players a little closer. There's less variables because of the division game. Those division away favorites against the spread are 12 and 9 ATS. But if you're betting them on the teasers since 2010, they are 18 and 3, 86% against the spread. So while, yes, you want to look at numbers, you also want to look at situations in those numbers. A division game with those numbers and a lower total is much more valuable than just a 2.5 total or a 3-point total. But I'll tell you what, if you have not played with it, absolutely must. You will be amazed how much you can learn. How teams do off a loss, how teams do off a win, what they do with different point spreads, homes, aways, off a loss where they lost by 10 points. And again, all that entire matrix is free at wagertalk.com.
And just as you're sitting there talking, and sometimes We're doing it. We're out at a at a bar
might have to
watching the
go
game.
divulge into that
Three
one.
of us kicking back
Wanna get
some
some more
cold ones and
programming
eating
time?
some chicken wings, and something will pop in our head, and we'll say, what do you guys think about this? And as you were just talking about the different things with division, how it plays tighter and that, an angle just popped in my head that I'm going to ask you to go ahead and run it later and see what it is. But the Thursday night games, when the difference between teasers on Thursday night games, if it's two division teams or if it's not two division teams. And I've said all along, we've always talked about on Thursday night football, the road team's at a big disadvantage because of the short week. But I say that disadvantage is negated if it's a division game because they already know the team they're playing because they always play them twice a year. It's a bigger disadvantage in prep time if you're preparing for a team that you don't face every year. You only face every how many years, when the schedule comes around, the road team's at a bigger disadvantage. So I'd love to run teaser numbers on that separation.
How about this, Marco? How about between videos, we take the 2 minutes it's going to take, and at the end of the next video, you'll give the result.
All right.
We got one more video. We'll do it now. It takes that little time to have that answer, and we'll tease it. Make sure you watch the next video. What's the heading of the next video?
The next video is going to be how to win.
For your second theory, you suit.
And we'll have that at the end of that video.
All right. Good stuff.
I did want to point out, Ed being from
You're
Cleveland,
making
Meyer from
99
Cleveland,
bucks every 7
and the
days
reason
from
why
every idiot who pays for your frickin'
we followed him
show.
all these years is because he's also from Cleveland. In fact, I would have to say every handicapper we respect is from Cleveland, but. Well, anyway.
You know what the best part of being from Pittsburgh is? It's only a 2.5-hour drive to Cleveland.
Yeah. But
he's taking that joke from the
Cleveland
podcast.
guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you even.
But knowing Ed all these years, he showed me the pamphlet, and I've been using this thing for 20 years.
Yeah.
And he was so far ahead of everybody else. Back then, it was free money. And nowadays, it's a little bit tougher because they're raising the spreads, but we're raising the numbers on these games. But let's see what happens here for this football season. And you don't want to tease college football. We'll just leave it.
College football, there's not.
the other one.
I'll just jump in real quick on that, going through the zero. I'm a guy that I'd never do it. I know that there's some people that
I know there's a lot of nevers, and that's why I brought it up. I know people will argue with me.
For me, because to me, you're losing the value. It's like when people talk about in a game where a team opened up a 1.5-point favorite, and then during the week it swings to the other team 2, and they say, "Oh, that's 3.5 points of value." No, it's not really, because you're moving through zero. You haven't gone through any key numbers. You can pick
tight games.
Basically, when the line was 1.5,
teasers.
and when the line's 2 on the other side, you're still just picking the
blowouts.
And when you're laying 3 plus 3
play
minus
either.
3. For most instances, you're still picking
that
the winner.
push
You will pick up some pushes there with the plus
being
3.
wrong on a half
but
end.
to me, I don't see the value.
I do want to point out, since you mentioned the number 3, if you can get the number 3, you don't need to teaser because the number 3 is worth more than what the teaser would give you.
Absolutely. And you said don't play college, and the reason we say don't tease
plus 3,
college
go money
is
line.
the scoring variance is much higher, much like we talked about
your
with
ATS.
the NFL games. Like you're not going to tease a
Not a
game
big
with the
teaser
Saints and the Falcons generally,
Right?
Because they're good. If they're playing one another and going up and down the field, it could be
Teaser
a
probably makes some
2-touchdown
more
game.
money.
Every point is worth less the higher the.
I can imagine
Absolutely.
that.
Guys,
Figured out any
great
winning
stuff. And
percentages
again,
or any winning
you guys
people.
want to jump on board one of our cappers at Wager Talk? We offer 3-day packages, 7-day packages. 3-day package is just
All right,
$59.
jump on 59.
7-day
or 99.
package
I guess
is
you can do 3-day over the
$99.
weekend, right?
What's good about these
Don't give you a
packages, you
Thursday
get
nighter.
every play they have. Yes,
But you
go
want
to
the Thursday nighter because he just
website,
gave you the
you're gonna
best
see
advice in the
everybody
world on
have
the
their
Thursday
best
nighter.
play up for sale, but a lot of
So better
times,
go- better
a lot
go
of
7
cappers
day,
have
better go
more
99
than one
bucks, just
play.
play full
They
time.
don't put them all up for one price. They're there for the subscribers. If you are on an all-access package,
that a season?
you're never going to miss a play from your favorite capper.
18
Check it
weeks,
out at Wager Talk.
$1,800.
And again, guys, you like these videos, especially these in-depth
Watch my video for
handicapping
free. Mail
ones
me
where we're
$1,800.
not actually giving you a play, but we're trying to help you become
Save
a better
yourself the
better
agony.
on your own. Do us a favor.
guys
Hit
aren't
that
winning, we're not
thumbs up
winning.
button.
No freaking way.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Put a comment in the comment section. If there's a question you have or a video you'd like us to do it in the comment section or tweet at one of us guys, and we'll do a video on what you're asking. Thanks for
you won't.
tuning
Haven't
in.
done
We'll be
another
back
video
with
in 5
more here
months.
at WagerTalk.com.
Except for the video you did right after it. All right, guys. Been fun. Chewed up a couple videos here. Let's get out of business here.